right, welcome. ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Tuesday, the 29th of November. Good to have you aboard, however you're listening to the program. I love you long time, of course, presented from day number one. Anidjar and Levine accident attorneys. You're dealing with any kind of personal injury, any kind of accident you've been in. Car accident, motorcycle, bike, slip and fall. Anidjar and Levine accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. Those are my guys. You got any type of injury you're dealing with, I'm sending you to them because I want to make sure that you get taken care of properly. So, we got a big Tuesday show planned for everybody today. I am excited to be here with you because this is a pretty major day for our country. That's right. U.S. men's national team, Iran, let's go. Take no prisoners, all right? We beat Iran and we own their country. That's how it works, right? If you eliminate a team, because you'd be eliminating them, it would be the United States and England would then advance. If the United States beats Iran, we own Iran. And then they can't have their reporters ask the stupid questions anymore to Tyler Adams yesterday. Oh, what a shit show yesterday. We'll get to that coming up. But I'm very pumped up. 2 o'clock today. If you're listening to the show before the game starts, maybe you're listening during the game. Hey, that's awesome. You're a big ZASLOW Show 2.0 fan. Or if you're listening afterward, hopefully you're hearing me afterward. I don't know who won. You may be listening right now. It's like 5, 6 p.m., and you already know the U.S. won. I don't know that they won. All right, that's crazy. You're listening right now. You know that the United States beat Iran. Right now, at this very moment, I don't know if they won. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I hope they did. You know, though. Anyway, that's coming up today at 2 p.m. You got the United States men's national soccer team playing the biggest soccer match that they've had in very, very many years. When you think about it right now, because they weren't in the World Cup 4 years ago, it's been 8 years, and they've scored 1 goal. In the last 8 years. That's what we're talking about, right? In the last 8 years, they have scored 1 goal. It was the first game, obviously, against Wales. So, and they're coming off a great performance against England. So, if that's a building block and they're in a position where they're in a must-win scenario, this would be, the best case scenario, right? Where they're in a must-win situation, but they're coming off of a very good performance against England. They should be riding high going into today. I think if you would have told the U.S. men's soccer team, hey, you're going to get to the 3rd game in group play. If you win, you're in the knockout round. They probably all take that scenario. Would you like to go into today saying, okay, we can get a draw, get away with 1 point, and get ourselves in? Yes. But I think if you would have said beforehand, look, if you get 3 points, if you get a win in your final game against Iran, yeah, Iran. If you get 3 points against Iran, if you get a win, well, I hope they beat them 10-0. I'm so pissed, this Iran. If you get a win against Iran, you're moving on to the knockout round. I think you probably wind up taking that. So we're going to get back to that in a second. That's the big story of the day, all right? Now, we got to do some good times, hard times today. It's Tuesday. Week 12 NFL is in the books. Last night, not a terrible game, but 2 bad teams. It wasn't a terrible game. The Steelers, they win 24-17 against the Colts. Jeff Saturday, clock management, that's the whole thing. I do wonder today, do the guys on national television, the analysts, the opinionists, the talking heads, are they going to get after their boy? Are they going to go after one of their own? Because if there was another coach who managed the clock or mismanaged the clock the way Jeff Saturday did last night on Monday Night Football, the guys on television, they're going to kill him. They're going to annihilate him. But this is their guy. This is their friend. He was one of them. Are they going to go after him? That's always interesting. I'm curious as to how all those guys on television react today. But Jeff Saturday, he looked like a guy who does not know how to manage the clock. All right. Probably not why they lost. Would the scenario have been a little bit different if they would have used a couple timeouts there? You don't get to carry them over to next week. It's not like salary cap where you can go year to year. You can carry it over a little bit. No, you don't. Hey, Jeff. You don't get to carry over the timeouts. You're done. It's over with. So last night, week 12, they are now in the books. And of course, excuse me, as far as the Dolphins go, we will begin to look ahead to the San Francisco 49ers. This is a major matchup. We got bulletin board material. That's coming up. I'll let you know about that. I do want to mention real quick. Oh, by the way, oh my God, last night. So I'm watching the Panthers last night because, of course, I love the Panthers. I'm watching the Panthers last night, and they just can't get that. They just can't get it right. They can't get it straight. Sasha Barkov's out with the team right now. He's going to miss the game tonight as well. They're hoping he'll return at one point during this Canadian road trip. Tonight, the Panthers are at Calgary. He's sick still, Sasha Barkov, not COVID apparently. They lose last night in overtime. They give up the game-tying goal with 4.5 seconds remaining. And they lose right away in overtime. Just a killer. It's one step forward, two steps back. Ed Jovanovski, one of my all-time favorites. Great dude. He's going to join us coming up on ZASLOW Show 2.0 today. So we'll get Eddie Jovanovski checking in with us. I got some questions asking about the defense, different style of play this year. We'll see if he's as frustrated as I am with the Panthers right now, who dropped to 10-8-4. They're under 500. I mean, they're 2 games under 500. Sucks. That record sucks. So we'll get Jovo Cop on the show coming up in a little bit. Last night, though, with the Panthers, I got tired. It's like mid-third period, tied 2-2. I had to hit that record button. I'm still getting over being sick, so I don't have all my wind in me yet. And I had to hit that record button and finish the game this morning. Extremely disappointing finish there. The Heat are back in action tomorrow night there in Boston. Ooh, man, that could be ugly. Anyway, so I want to get back to the soccer in a moment here, but first, I got to let everybody know. So my kids and I, we've been watching, we finished up the show last night. You know, I'm always looking for new shows. Looking for new shows on Netflix or Amazon Prime or on Peacock or Hulu, whatever. I can't sit here and name all the streaming services. I'm going to be here forever. But my kids, we started watching Wednesday. Wednesday Addams, the Addams Family. We started watching Wednesday last week. We finished it last night. It's 8 episodes. I think there's going to be another season. It's not confirmed. I'm going to tell you something. Like, maybe you're skeptical. It's Addams Family. You're not really into it, that whole deal. That show is fantastic. I loved it so much. The girl who plays Wednesday, Jenna Ortega, best Wednesday Addams. The funny thing is, Christina Ricci, who we also know is a great Wednesday Addams, she's one of the main characters in this show. Now, she's obviously not playing Wednesday. But this Jenna Ortega, who I'd never heard of before, my older son knows who she is. This Jenna Ortega, by far best Wednesday Addams. This show is so good. I can't... Now, Morticia and Gomez are played by Catherine Zeta-Jones, good Morticia, and Luis Guzman, who I couldn't wrap my head around as Gomez. I don't know, maybe because I expect Gomez to be like this suave, debonair guy, and, you know, Luis Guzman looks like Luis Guzman. I couldn't wrap my head around Luis Guzman as Gomez, but here's the thing. Morticia and Gomez, very small role. They are not in the show very much. The show is about Wednesday, and she is sent off to a boarding school, the same school her parents went to, and that's the show. It's about her semester there at this school, and here's the best way to describe it. She's solving a murder throughout the show. Essentially, it's Wednesday Addams / Nancy Drew. That's the show. And it's got some violence, you know, and obviously, you know, it's a sci-fi kind of deal. I'm telling you, I hope I'm describing it all right. Netflix, Wednesday. Show is fantastic. My boys loved it. I loved it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that there's a new season. I know it's trending on Netflix, so it's easy to find right now. If you're looking for a new show to watch with your entire family, I can't recommend it enough. Wednesday on Netflix is so fantastic. A great, great show. It's a murder mystery kind of thriller deal. And like I said, the best way to describe it, and it's got all the Addams Family characters. They have small roles besides Wednesday. But it's Wednesday Addams / Nancy Drew. That's essentially the show. Loved it. Loved it. My favorite show in a really long time. So go check out Wednesday. All right. We'll get to the Panthers in a second here. I want to talk about this U.S. men's soccer team. So here's the thing, right? So Biggest game maybe ever for the U.S. men's national soccer team. I know they've been to the round of 16 before. I understand that. So it's like, oh, ZASLOW. Obviously, when you're playing in the round of 16, that's bigger than right now. Well, not with the expectation that this team had going into the World Cup. Not with waiting 8 years to play another World Cup match. Not with Captain America, Cristian Pulisic, who's probably the greatest U.S. men's soccer player we've ever had, all right? The expectation and the pressure is super high this afternoon. And I'm not going to sit here as if I'm some type of expert when it comes to not only soccer. Now, you know, I'm an inaugural season ticket holder into Miami. You know that, right? And we're a soccer house. You know my son, Weston Select U14 boys. He's the goalkeeper. We're a soccer family. But I'm not sitting here like I'm some type of expert. But the way that I'm seeing it right now, this afternoon, I mean, the team has scored 1 goal. They haven't lost. I mean, they could realistically not lose a single game this World Cup and not get out of group play, which would be a massive disappointment, especially if they only wind up scoring 1 goal in the World Cup, which is what they're sitting on right now. But the way I see it, as somewhat of a novice, if you will, U.S. men's soccer fan, it's time for Cristian Pulisic to put his stamp on U.S. men's soccer. That's how I see it. He's Captain America. He's possibly the greatest U.S. men's soccer player we've ever had. You got high expectation. You know, I'm watching Argentina the other day. They have to win the game. They had to win the second game against Mexico. And now, not to compare Cristian Pulisic to Messi, he is our best player though, but Argentina was in a must-win situation. Who gets them on the board? Lionel Messi. That's who you're the best player. That's what you got to do. And that's the situation I think that Cristian Pulisic finds himself in. Time for Cristian Pulisic to put his stamp on U.S. men's soccer. I think that's what we're talking about here. And that would be getting a win today in a must-win situation against this godforsaken Iran. I hate their guts. I hope we beat them 10-0. So yesterday, you got the press conference going on. You got the coach up there. And you got Tyler Adams, the captain of the team. So, and now you got the political bullshit, which has started to, make its way. It started to make an appearance. So, there were several political questions that were directed toward the coach and Tyler Adams. I think Tyler Adams is 23 years old. Great kid, though. Great captain. Listen to this, okay? So here is an Iranian reporter, and, I mean, he's 23 years old. They're there to play soccer, all right? I know there's problems all over the world, but they're literally there to play soccer. And I would say in a situation like this, when it comes to Iran, hey, I mean, stones in glass houses, right? Give me a break with Iran. Iran calling out the United States? We're not perfect. We're not even close to perfect. We got a lot of things wrong with us as a country. But Iran, you got some balls to throw questions like this at the United States, at these kids, at soccer players. Give this a listen here, and specifically how well the captain, Tyler Adams, handles this bullshit.
You say you support the Iranian people, but you're pronouncing our country's name wrong. Our country is named Iran, not Iran. Please, once and for all, let's get this clear. Are you okay to be representing a country that has so much discrimination against black people in its own borders? And we saw the Black Lives Matter movement over the past few years.
My apologies on the mispronunciation of your country. That being said, there's discrimination everywhere you go. One thing that I've learned, especially from living abroad in the past years and having to fit in different cultures, is that in the U.S. we're continuing to make progress every single day. I grew up in a white family with obviously an African American heritage and background as well. So I had a little bit of different cultures, and I was very, very easily able to assimilate in different cultures. So not everyone has that ease and the ability to do that, and obviously it takes longer to understand. And through education, I think it's super important. Like you just educated me now on the pronunciation of your country. So
they're to play soccer, and credit to Tyler Adams. Great kid, great captain. Boy, did he handle that perfectly. Because I would have come back and said Iran again. Iran, okay, great. Like I would have pulled the Step Brothers move. Now that's Iran, Iran. So Iran, Iran. Okay, Iran. Like I would have pulled the Step Brothers move. He handled that perfectly. Give me a break. You know this. Like really, we're being grilled by Iranians. We're being grilled by Iranian reporters. Get the hell out of here. And then the whole the Black Lives Matter and a country where black people aren't treated well within their borders. He answered it perfectly. What a mensch. And that wasn't it. They were also asked about the military and about positioning in the waters near Iran. They were asked about excuse me. They were asked about there was one other political question that he was asked. So nonetheless, about black people's treatment, about military, pronounce Iran properly, is this nonsense. Again, stones in glass houses. Get the hell out of here. This kid handled that perfectly, and I hope we beat them 10-0. I hope we take that ass today, and then we own Iran, because that's what happens. Like I told you, in an elimination game, when you win, you then own that country. That country's now yours. And we're not even going to make it part of the United States. No. There's no 51st states. We just kind of own you. You're going to stay out there, and you're ours now. We're in charge of Iran. So that's what's on the line today. Cristian Pulisic, Captain America, let's go. I'm going to put our stamp. On US men's soccer. And that comes with getting a win today. Boy, I was so pissed when I saw that stuff yesterday. This Iranian reporter, hey, it's saying our name right. Come on, no one's trying to be disrespectful. Come on, man. I'm still calling it out. He should too, but he's too good for that. He's much better than me. Anyway, very fired up over today. The whole country's watching, man. This is going to be really great stuff. And I just want to see more soccer, man. I just want to see them get to the knockout round. I want this thing to continue on. We've been waiting a really long time for it to have just 3 games and then it's over with. That'll be super disappointing. I feel like we're going to come out with a good performance today. Coming off such a good game against England. They really played so well. They deserved a better result. I think they're trending in a direction where they're going to put it on Iran. I think you got some bad juju there from the reporter grilling Tyler Adams and the coach there. I think it's all... And he handled it so classy. Although at one point the coach did say, listen, I'm a soccer coach. And he's right. I mean, what's he supposed to do? When they were talking about the military stuff, is he supposed to say, yeah, you know what, I just got the phone with Joe Biden. I made a couple suggestions as far as what we should do with our military. Get the hell out of here. That's so aggravating to me. So anyway, hey, however you're listening to the show, make sure you hit the like button, you comment. I'll interact with you guys. ZASLOW Show, at ZASLOW Show on Twitter, ZASLOW J on Instagram. But of course, however you're listening, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeart, all that. Put a like there or a comment, rate, all that good stuff. It's for the algorithm, all right? The algorithm needs you to do that. It's super, super important, all right? So that really helps out your boy. I love you long time. So, yesterday, introduced a few new sponsors. That's right. ZASLOW Show 2.0 is a-growing. I appreciate everybody who's hopped on board. I love you long time. All of our future sponsors as well. Go to @ZASLOW Show, my Twitter bio. It's got the email. If you want to be a part of the show, we'll figure something out. I appreciate all the sponsors and all the soon-to-be sponsors, and that includes. You can hear, I'm starting to get better. Still, I got a little bit of a lingering cough. A cough is always the last thing to go, right? Still got a little bit of a lingering cough, but a lifesaver is my man Dr. Alon from Doctors on Call 365. South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. Based in Broward County, actually very close to me here in Cooper City. I run Cooper City, all right? Dr. Alon, though, he's serving Broward County, Miami-Dade as well, parts of Southern Palm Beach, too. If you got any kind of illness that you're doing, well, not any kind of illness. We're not talking mental health or sexual health kind of situations. And obviously, if you're dealing with an emergency, you got to call 911. But I was very sick last week. What did I do? Doctors on Call 365-786 577-9302. Their phones are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's why it's doctorsoncall365.com. And here's what I got to ask you. What is it worth to avoid a crowded emergency room, to avoid a crowded urgent care, and then you get that bill several weeks later like, oh my God, I owe thousands of dollars? What is it worth to be seen and treated in the comfort of your home or your office or your hotel room? That's right, and most insurances, they're charging emergency room copays, fees for urgent care visits. So in the end, you're most likely going to pay less if you get treated at home by Doctors on Call 365. Whatever you got going on, let Dr. Alon and his team treat you. Again, doctorsoncall365.com, 786-577-9302. So we're making our way toward the Dolphins this weekend. It's Tuesday. That means Week 12's in the books. We could start to look forward to what's coming up this weekend. And what's coming up this weekend is a major matchup in San Francisco. So the Dolphins and 49ers, there's some crossover there, right? That's right. You got the former coach, Mike McDaniel. You got some former players, excuse me, with Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr. on the team. They're active trade partners, these two teams. The 49ers got a lot on the line. They're trying to win that NFC West. The Miami Dolphins got a lot on the line. They're trying to win the AFC. They're right up there at the top with Kansas City. I can't believe it. What a season the Dolphins are having. And this is the stretch of games where, Dolphins are 8-3, and we talked about this, the easy stretch, which is after Week 12, you got to come out 8-3. You got to take advantage. You had one difficult game when we looked at the schedule beforehand. We had one difficult game in that stretch, and that was the Vikings. But you also knew that there'd probably be one other game that you'd slip up, and that slip up, unfortunately, was the Jets. We could talk till we're blue in the face about what if Tua had played in those games. And I already told you yesterday, I think the Dolphins are sitting here 10-1 if Tua never gets hurt. But at the same time, he got hurt, and he has come back slinging it, all right? Looking like the MVP of the league. So you take it, all right? No regrets, right? 8-3 after that stretch of games, which is exactly what you needed to be. Well, now we're going to find out exactly what this team is really made of. Yes, if you're a really good team and the Dolphins are a really good team, you're going to beat the Browns. You're going to beat the Texans. You're going to beat the Steelers. You're going to beat those kind of teams. You're going to beat some of them soundly. But now we're going to find out what this team really is made of. Now we're going to find out, if you're a Super Bowl contender. Are the Dolphins going to Super Bowl? If you're a Super Bowl contender, now you're going to find out what this team is really made of. If you're a Super Bowl contender, you're about to make your statement. This is what you got coming up. At San Francisco this weekend, at the Los Angeles Chargers, Tua, Herbert, going to take that ass. You know what I'm talking about? Herbert. And then at Buffalo. This 3-game stretch right here. I mean, it kind of is make or break when it comes to the playoffs, too. I mean, Dolphins are second place in the AFC, but they're only 1 game up on 7th right now, which is the Jets. And I guess 2 games up on being out of the playoff picture right now. If you're a Super Bowl contender, you make your statement right now. Now, it doesn't mean sweeping these 3 games, but I would say, got to win 2 out of these 3. At San Francisco, at Los Angeles, at Buffalo. Got to win 2 out of these 3. Now, you'd like for one of those 2 to be at Buffalo? Especially because, you would essentially wrap up the division if you win that game at Buffalo. You'd go up 2-0 on them. Buffalo's division record already stinks. I think they're 0-2 in division. At San Francisco, at Los Angeles, at Buffalo, if you can go 2 out of 3 during that stretch, you come out of that 10-4. 10-4 with 3 games played. I felt the Dolphins were an 11-win team before the season started. You come out of that stretch 10-4, that's big time. But the thing is, you did what you're supposed to do. You beat the bad teams. That's right. Beat bad teams. Now, can you beat some good teams? If you're a Super Bowl contender, not only do you beat some good teams, you beat them on the road. And one thing we talked about a few weeks ago when the Dolphins proved that they could run the football, hey, are they going to be able to run the football in December on the road in the cold, in January on the road in the cold in a playoff game? Yes, this turned out to be a very good running the football team. But that also means in games like this weekend where it's not necessarily going to be cold in San Francisco and then in Los Angeles, but road games in September. Defense and running game travels. That's why it's so important. Defense and running game, doesn't matter the venue. They travel. Does a passing game travel? Not necessarily. If it's snowing, if it's a blizzard, passing game's going to be a problem. But defense and running game travels. And the Dolphins showing they can run the football, we're about to find out these next 3 games. So 2 out of 3 at San Francisco, at Los Angeles, at Buffalo, you'll be sitting pretty. But we're going to find out what this team is made of here. Very exciting stuff. And how about some bulletin board material? So, like I mentioned there, you got former Dolphins, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., and you got some back and forth now going on. So how about this? So there was an article, I think was it Yahoo maybe? Anyway, there was an article recently that, I'm trying to see where it was. I'm not sure where it was. But anyway, so there are quotes here from Raheem Mostert. This is from Tyler Dunn on Twitter. Dolphins 49ers next week will be a humdinger. I chatted with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, and they didn't hold back on their new opportunity. Quote, we have way better talent here. It's going to get spooky. We have a quarterback who can actually sling it. All right. So that's obviously a shot at Jimmy Garoppolo. But at the same time, he's, same thing that Tyreek Hill did before the season started, where, it's kind of more about showing you that his guy too is awesome. But the way that you put the headline there, we got a quarterback who can actually sling it, that's a salacious headline. That's kind of clickbait stuff right there. And so Deebo Samuel got a hold of it. Deebo Samuel tweeted out, Raheem, be real with yourself. This was yesterday morning. So Deebo ain't happy about it. And Deebo's standing up for his guy. All right? And Raheem Mostert here goes on. Mostert also criticized the 49ers for rushing players back from injury too soon and using his decision to have season-ending surgery against him in free agency. Quote, I got to turn up. Former employers, they got to come see me. They got to come see about me. Me and Jeff Wilson Jr. are going to go crazy. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love the Dolphins running backs. And then you got another 49er, Charles Omenihu. Someone thinking they go and run crazy on our defense is funny. So you got some back and forth going on here. But Raheem Mostert jumps in now. He's not so happy about it because he writes, what clickbait? Not once did I dog Jimmy G in my interview. Did I praise our QB1? Hell yeah, I did. But I also threw out compliments to my former QB. But hey, let's leave that part out. So yeah, Raheem's kind of claiming there. He got me into a little bit of clickbait nonsense because apparently he did say good stuff about his former quarterback. I think you could understand, though, when the 49ers players see the comment that says, we got we have way better talent here. Okay, fine. But also, we have a quarterback that can actually sling it. Whether he meant it as a jab toward Jimmy G, you could totally see the 49er guys saying, that's not cool. You could see that. But it's also from a writer's perspective, like, yeah, you're kind of putting out the clickbait stuff right there. So I could see both sides of it, but the point is, you got back and forth right now between the 49ers and the Dolphins, and it's Tuesday. It's all it is. It's Tuesday. Game's Sunday. It's Tuesday. So you're going to get, the players are going to start talking tomorrow after practice, that whole deal, and you're going to have the reporters asking about it, and we're going to have some fun leading up to Sunday. But the Dolphins guys got chip on their shoulder, especially Raheem Mostert. Clearly, he thinks that they dogged him out because he wouldn't, because of the injury situation, because he chose to have surgery. So Raheem Mostert, after not playing last week, maybe a little bit rested, he's got something to show. And Jeff Wilson Jr. being traded mid-season. Hey, you trade for Christian McCaffrey, who we know is amazing. And then you dealt me. I got something to show you too. Obviously, a Dolphins offensive line situation is ain't making you feel so good. But I like to believe that with a week of preparation, they figure that situation out at left tackle. Obviously, you're going to be without Teron Armstead for the foreseeable future. Apparently, it's not going to be for the entire year. Thank goodness that's the case. If you look at the AFC playoff picture right now, how good is this? Finishing second is so huge because you get 2 home games. You would get a home game the wild card round and a home game the divisional round. But right now, if the playoffs started today, which would be really weird if the playoffs started today because you do have 6 games left. But if the playoffs started today, Dolphins are 8-3, second place in the AFC. The team that they would host, wild card weekend, Jets. Oh my God! You know what? Let me send out a prayer right quick. Let me say a prayer. Okay. Please, Hashem, please have the Dolphins finish second place in the AFC and have the Jets get the final wild card spot, and then we could play them at home week 17. We could take that ass, and then the Jets, they have to come right back here the very next weekend, and we could take their ass again and end their season. Oh, please, Hashem, I love you so much. Yeah, if that can be the scenario, if that's what our wild card weekend can be, and we play the Jets, the stupid Jets, oh my God. Please let that be who we wind up facing in the first round. Right now, it would be the Jets at the Dolphins, Bengals at the Titans. They just played this past weekend. And Buffalo at Baltimore. We all know they had the huge comeback there at the end. Baltimore loves blowing games. That would be kind of cool, though, if the Dolphins host the Jets in Week 18, and then they play them the very next week in the postseason. Be awesome. So that's what you're looking at right now. Okay, so before we get Ed Jovanovski on the show here, that's right, we're going to talk to one of my all-time favorites. Ed Jovanovski will chime in here. Want to make sure that we get to some NFL stuff here outside the Dolphins. And what I'm talking about is, it's Tuesday, all right? It's Tuesday. That means Week 12 has been wrapped up. And that means it's time to see which NFL fan bases are having good times and who's having hard times. That's right. Hard times, Daddy. You know we do this every Tuesday, all right? Not including the Dolphins. Which NFL fan bases right now are having good times and which are having hard times after this previous week's actions. We got 3 for each. Good times right now. Number 3, the New York Jets fan. The Jets are now 7-4. You know their defense is legit. They benched Zach Wilson, and the worst thing that could have happened for Zach Wilson ended up happening, which was Mike White went out there and was slinging it against, I know it's the Chicago Bears, but he was slinging it. The Jets showed you they could score a little bit, so it might be hard times, Daddy, for Zach Wilson, but overall for the Jets fans having good times right now. Number 2, good times are being had by the Jacksonville Jaguars fan. The Jags are 4-7. The Jags come from behind victory. Again, double-digit comeback against the Ravens, game-winning touchdown and 2-point conversion led by Trevor Lawrence. That's why the Jaguars are having good times because, hey, maybe Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is him. That's what the kids say, right? I don't know. I'm not a kid. So number 2, Jaguars fans are having good times. And number 1, the Los Angeles Chargers fan is having the best times this week. They're having good times because essentially their season was saved. They're 6-5. They're on the outside looking in, but their season was essentially saved. Come from behind victory against Arizona, 2-point conversion, Austin Eckler, and Justin Herbert and the Chargers. They essentially keep their season alive. So after Week 12, the Chargers fan is having good times. So number 3, Jets fan. Number 2, Jaguars fan. Number 1, Chargers fan. Now, who's having hard times, Daddy, after Week 12 NFL action? Number 3, hard times for the Seattle Seahawks fan. The Seahawks dropped to 6-5. They were like the darling of the NFL. Geno Smith was in MVP conversations. They're coming crashing back down to earth quite a bit. The Seahawks, they lose this weekend. They're having hard times, Daddy. Number 2, the Ravens fan. Hard times, Daddy, for the Ravens fan. They blow another double-digit lead, I believe for the 4th time this year. This time, it was at the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars. And of course, after the game, Lamar Jackson is telling fans to eat a you-know-what. That's hard times, Daddy. And number one, the hardest times right now, after Week 12, are being had by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. They can't hold a lead. They don't score enough points. They lose in overtime to the Cleveland Browns 23-17, and the Bucs are now 6-5. They are not... Look, they play in a terrible division, so they're still very much in the playoff picture, but that's not a good Bucs team. The Bucs fan is having hard times. So right now, number 3 hard times, Seahawks fan. Number 2 hard times, Ravens fan. And the hardest times after Week 12 is being had by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. And that right there is another edition of Good Times and Hard Times. So, Dolphins and 49ers this weekend. Good opportunity to remind you to come on out to Briny Irish Pub in Pompano and hang out with me. I was there this past weekend hanging out with Adam and Alan. Joey from It's Still Real to Me. My pal Joey Levine came out. My son was with me. We watched the Dolphins take that ass over the Texans. Briny Irish Pub in Pompano. BrinyPubPompano.com. We're talking drink specials every day. Great Irish... Yourself an Irish car bomb. Let's go. You and me, we'll do Irish car bombs together. On Atlantic Boulevard, you drive straight out to the Atlantic. Boom. Right there on the south side is Briny Irish Pub. You can't miss it. BrinyPubPompano.com. We got live music every single night. NFL Sunday ticket. Come watch the Dolphins with me this weekend at Briny Irish Pub. Food's so good. Shepherd pie. Oh my God, I love shepherd pie so much. You guys know that. Everybody knows that. All right. So the Panthers last night. Man, Panthers. Tonight they're in Calgary as this road trip continues. But I'm so bummed about the Panthers. They dropped now to 2 games under 500. They're 10-8-4. And I got a lot of questions. The Panthers blow it last night. They take the early lead. 1-0. Matthew Tkachuk, who has been fantastic. And tonight you got Tkachuk back in Calgary. But Matthew Tkachuk, who has been everything, I think he's been everything we hoped he would be. Anton Lundell ties the game at 2 in the middle of the third period. He's done a terrific job essentially filling in for Sasha Barkov the last few games. And Brandon Montour, he's having a great season. He gives the Panthers a 3-2 lead with, I don't know, it was like 6-7 minutes left in the game. And they can't hang on. The Panthers give up the game-tying goal with 4.5 seconds remaining. 3-3. Spencer Knight was great. He was awesome. And his defense continues to let him down. There's always several times there are breakdowns. Or there's 5-on-3s, which, by the way, another 5-on-3 yesterday for a full minute, which the Panthers and Spencer Knight killed off. Spencer Knight was awesome last night. He gets no blame. But they give up the game-tying goal with 4.5 seconds left. They get a little bit unlucky. And then very quickly in overtime, they wind up losing 4-3. It sucks. I mean, his team, they can't quite put it together. It's so frustrating.